All right, welcome back to another video. Last week we were setting up the Stripe integration. This week we're still setting up the Stripe integration. So I got it working finally. So now everything works properly. Like you can sign up or you can upgrade it and it'll update the database and everything's talking to everything perfectly. But now I just have to set up limits, like set the limits up throughout the app and make sure that everything, like all the limits gets updated when they subscribe or when they cancel. And I only ended up needing to use 2 edge functions.
If you're interested in seeing or understanding, I guess, how I set up the Stripe with Supabase, like there's no server to this. It's literally just edge functions and the Supabase database. My really messy handwriting too. Basically, the app, whenever a user goes to upgrade, it triggers the checkout edge function, which just creates a checkout session. But it checks first to see if you have a customer ID, which you need a customer ID to generate a checkout session on Stripe. And then if it's successful, it creates a checkout session. And then Stripe will, I guess, has webhooks built in, or at least that's kind of how I understand it. And then you just add the endpoint, which in my case is another edge function, which just is literally used to just process all the events. So like payment seeded, subscription created, canceled, deleted, all of them just get sent here. And then this processes them and then updates the database based on the event. So like if it succeeded, then, update, they're on the pro plan, change their limits. If it cancels or payment failed when they're already a subscriber, revert it back, like that kind of thing. And then that's literally basically it. And then obviously the app's just reading from the database. So when you look at it like this, it's so simple.
But I was stuck on that for so long just because I just didn't know that's how they all link together. So maybe if I saw this really poorly made diagram before, it would have helped me a little bit. But yeah, that's at least how I have it set up. There's probably a million ways to set it up, but yeah, at least with the edge functions and no server, that's pretty much how I have it set it up.
So now there's a little badge here at the bottom for Pro. And when you click on it, you can see, like, this is just your current plan. It says the renews, and this is just kind of all the features. Some are coming soon, and then some already exist. And then you can cancel as well here. So most of this stuff is done.
The only thing, like I said, I just have to get the limit set up. And then once the limits, this dog is crazy sometimes. Like, literally so crazy. So once the limits are set up, then it's pretty much good to go. And then once everything's working, it should all be connected. There's probably going to be some testing that I'll have to do beforehand. But I think other than that, I think that's finally done, or at least coming to an end. So I'm very happy that that's done. So now I can focus on the next thing, which I'm still not 100% sure what that's going to be, but I'll figure that out eventually.
But I think what I'm going to do after, honestly, is kind of get this all finished up, like allow you to actually upload images, like actually upload videos, like audio, like kind of just get this all wrapped up, and then even take it a step further and then do like code blocks so you can actually import code blocks properly, and then it would actually look formatted. And then maybe, depending on how time goes, do like the AI auto completion too, which would be nice. And I kind of want to I might do some like I want to do my own custom ones. Like if you're
just kind of writing something, it would be kind of cool. I know Linear has an option you can turn text into like issues. So it'd be nice to kind of almost turn stuff into tasks or like assignments just by like writing the title, and you can just highlight the title and then just create. I don't know if it'd be useful, to be honest, but it still could be interesting to have just kind of that flexibility to highlight something and then create like something based off of whatever you wrote. Like especially if it's a list, you could like list out all your assignments and then just highlight all of them, and it just creates the assignments for you. I think that could be decent. I don't know how exactly that would work because assignments need a course, but anyways, it's something to think about. But I'm gonna start probably with, I think there's a problem with copy and pasting. Like the formatting wasn't consistent when you copy and paste it into the text editor, so I want to get that fixed. I have to reproduce the error first because I haven't experienced it yet. And then, then I'll look into getting the whole image thing set up and then the code block. And then it would be nice to be able to upload PDFs directly in there too. I think that's a pro feature for Blocknote, but I think there might be a way, like if they give you enough. It's just built off of, I can't even remember the name of the editor now, but I'll say something Rose, or maybe it's off, I don't know, something Rose. is what it's built off of. So I'm pretty sure you should be able to customize it a little bit. So yeah. Anyways, that's gonna be the goal today. Well, the goal today is to finish up all the limits, get all of that. I just want to forget about all the paid plan stuff for a bit, like get it all set up, and then it's all there, done. Then you can focus on just building out more features with that already in place. So yeah, I want to finish that, and then so I can just forget about it. Then yeah, go from there. So. All right, guys, I'm happy to finally say the Stripe thing is pretty much completely done. I just have to send confirmation emails, and there was one more thing, I think, maybe just last minute testing or something like that. Okay, yeah, so just have to set up the email so that they get a confirmation email, and then just test to make sure all the limits work properly and everything, which I'm pretty sure they should. And then it's finally good to go. So that feels really great to finally get that done. So that's kind of the only two things I have to do today. I'll look into it. I want to get it set up if I can, but I'll have to see how it goes. And then I just have to do one more thing with the limit, and then that's about it. So like I was saying before too, after this, I'm gonna get this all wrapped up, get all these working, and then yeah, get the code blocks as well in that drop down there. And that's gonna be a good example. Honestly, even this email thing is gonna be an example of something I have no idea how to do, but I'll walk through kind of my learning process and how I kind of, even if I have no idea, like I have some idea of how it's gonna work, but I've never done it before. So it's kind of interesting how the more you do things that you don't know how to do, you just get a mindset that nothing intimidates you really anymore because you know it's possible. So it just takes some time to like figure out exactly how it works, but eventually you know you're gonna figure it out. So that helps a lot, especially at the beginning stages, because usually it's pretty overwhelming when you don't know how to do something. So it's nice to be able to kind of have that confidence behind you, even if you have no idea what to do. Just knowing it's okay, well, I've done this a million times, like solve something and I had no idea how to do it. So it just kind of reinforces that. All right, it's the next day. So we, not a whole lot happened yesterday, to be honest. So today, the goal for today is to get the emails, confirmation emails out. I'm honestly so done with this Stripe. Like I just want it to be done. I know I say this every 2 seconds, but it's gonna feel so great for this to be wrapped up, and then I can move on to something else. Like I'm getting bored of this. I'm getting so bored. But I find it keeps, when you integrate Stripe, it just keeps adding things, because it's like you can, okay, well, you have to do, you get the Stripe set up, okay, then I gotta do the limits, then you gotta do the cancel subscription, then you have to set up the pause subscription, then you have to do the email confirmations, and it's like it just keeps going. So like, and I didn't even realize that until I started it. So it just like, it seems like a never-ending thing, and I'm just so done with it. But anyways, that's the goal for today. Wrap that up, and then yeah, gonna move on to some other things. I was having a conversation with my dad the other day, and like it was in the car. He just was just talking about how, oh, like he's in his early 50s, but he was talking about how he kind of wanted to have a sports car when he's in his 50s, but he's like, oh, like, you know, I'm not sure if that's gonna happen anymore. And I said to him, I'm like, well, you know, like the first, like if you want it to happen, you gotta believe that it can happen. He kind of just laughed it off, and I told him like I'm gonna have one before I'm 30, and like he laughed again, right? And then because it seems outrageous, but it's kind of crazy to think, like it's easy to think those goals are outrageous, but if you really think about 5 years, 5, 7, like 5, 6, 7 years, like if you dedicate that much time to one thing and learning one thing, like just imagine how much, like there's no way you wouldn't see results. Like 5 full years is such a long time, and the amount you can learn in 5 years is crazy, especially if you fully give it 100% dedicated to one thing. Like you are gonna for sure see results. And I also think it's good to set unrealistic goals, because if you set unrealistic goals and you don't hit them, like you shouldn't be disappointed, because it's like you would have got much further chasing those unrealistic goals than you would have if you set a modest, you know, super attainable goal. Like I think on the micro scale, like attainable goals are good to like kind of get that boost of confidence. But if you set a modest goal, you don't even hit it, like that's gonna suck more than setting a really outrageous goal. And yeah, I do think if you set super high or outrageous goals, even if you don't reach them, you'll still get further than you would if you had the modest goal. There's also this thing called Future Me. It's a website and an app, but you basically can send emails to your future self. And I started doing it back in 2020. And usually I do every year, I'll send one for like the next year. But 5 years ago, or 2020, so 4 years ago, I sent one for 5 years. So next year I'll get that. Um, but it's kind of cool to see. I think it's really helpful because it's almost like journaling, because you basically talk to your future self, but like you completely, when you get the email, whether it's a year, 6 months, whatever the time duration is, like you completely forget what you wrote. So when you read it, if you write it in the way that like you're kind of predicting your life, or like the things you wish that you kept doing, it's so cool to see like 5 years from now that, oh, you said you want to do all these goals and you literally did them. Because it's so easy to kind of lose sight or feel like you didn't make any progress, but this is like an immediate reminder that you are actually making progress. So it really helps with that. And it just gives you the confidence boost that like, yeah, you're on the right track. Like you're actually, like, over this 5 years, it might not feel like you've done a lot, or a year or whatever, but when you look back and you actually see, like, you compare where you were back then, like you have pure evidence, especially if you write like the emails with metrics of like, okay, this is what I'm doing now, this is whatever, and then you compare, you'll just see you have literally before and after proof of like how far you've come. So it really helps your confidence. So yeah, I recommend you guys start doing that if you want. I'm looking forward to the 5 year one, but I just wrote another 5 year one, and I noticed like I was being like almost, like, I didn't want to go too optimistic, but yeah, like it comes down to 5 full years. Like if you think about how long 5 years are, like you, like, so much can happen in 5 years. Like so much can happen. So much happened in the last 6 months. Now imagine that times 10, right? So I think it's easy to kind of, until you get the proof, it's hard to kind of convince yourself that it's possible. But I want to get to a point where I can 100% say it with conviction, like say my future life with conviction, with no doubts in the back of my mind. Because it's even funny when you look at super successful people, their mindsets, most of them, like, yeah, they might have changed a little bit, but for the most part, they haven't changed much. Like their mindset when they first started with nothing is literally the exact same as it is now. So like that's proof that mindset is everything. And I think if you can picture and kind of speak things into existence about your future and like 100% mean it, it'll take you super far. So it's just something to think about too, especially like when you look at these successful people and how consistent their mindsets are, like now compared to back then. That's just evidence right there. So what's funny is, so I'm just looking at mail, like things to get email set up.
And like this one is popular apparently, Node Mailer. But like just looking at the site, like I don't even want to bother with it. Like I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it does the job. But I don't know. I think I see this one, Mailer Send. The site looks much better. I feel like I'm gonna have such a better time going through the docs and everything. And like 3,000 emails for free, than only $1 for 1,000, like, and even 50,000 a month for 30. Like that's not bad. So honestly, this one's looking pretty decent. Like 3,000 emails. Like I'm only using this for confirmation emails. So then if you think about it, every single email would be a paying user. So then it would make it worth it in the long run. So now the fun part begins to try to figure out how to use this. But 6:16, already getting a little tired, not gonna lie, but we'll see what we can do tonight. Wow, it actually worked first try. Like, I did not expect that to work first try, but it did. Thanks to ChatGPT for generating I don't know anything about email templates, so it just generated that for me. But that was a lot easier than I thought. I didn't even use the Mailer Send. I saw this. I guess Dino has a free one, and I mean, yeah, it just literally, that's it. That's literally it. And it worked first try. So that is phenomenal. But now, that was only like an hour, I guess.
Yeah, that was like an hour. But yeah, I'm exhausted now, so happy that's done with. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go to sleep now. Okay, I might honestly end the video here. Not gonna get up to too much now. I'm trying my best to keep these as different and like not repetitive as possible, but like every day is pretty much the same, so it's a little tough to do that. Like it'd be nice to have like kind of more like change of environment, go places, but like I don't want to fake it for like this is literally every day is like this. So it's like it's not even like anything, nothing is really that crazy. But yeah, if you made it this far, appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully next week will be a little bit more entertaining just from like feature standpoint. Like I want to get into a good groove of like I want to get a big ass whiteboard and start planning out new features there, and I think that would be great for the videos too, just to kind of see like being able to map out the features on the whiteboard and then kind of just make it more interactive, and then even just show the planning process as well, which would be huge. I think it would just make it a lot more interesting, to be honest. So yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys next week.